Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 144 of the Nigeria Football Weekly podcast with me, your host, Olu Oke. And today I'll be bringing you a short episode, but just reviewing the Nigeria vs Botswana game, which took place yesterday. And the Super Falcons of Nigeria left it really late to secure a 1-0 win over Botswana last night, courtesy of a great goal by Chinwendu Ihezuo, who scored the only goal of the game in 89th minute to lead the Super Falcons to a 1-0 victory and also seal our place in the quarterfinals of the tournament. So as you can imagine, 1-0 is definitely not the expectation. I thought it would be a 5-0 game, but man, shout out to Botswana. They made us work hard for this win, man. But anyway, just to get into it, starting lineup was exactly the same as the first game. So we saw Nadozie in goal, Alozie and Plumter as the fullbacks, Osanachi Ohale and Tosin Demehi as the centre-back pairing. We saw Halimatu Ayinde and Deborah Biodu in the centre of the park, with Ajibade playing as the cam yet again. And then we saw Babajide, Tony Payne on the wings, and then superstar Oshoala through the middle. What are the key moments in this game? Botswana actually got the first major chance of this game, with the Nadozie saving a shot from Tola Kele. And then Ashley Plumter had a shot in 23rd minutes, which just went over the crossbar after a cutback from Ajibade. Tony Payne also had a shot go over the bar in the 34th minute from close range, and the defender Moloi put enough pressure on her, so that threw her off in terms of that chance. At halftime, the coach he changed the entire front three, or you can say the cam and two of the forwards, with Babajide, Oshoala and Tony Payne all going off for Christy Uchebe coming to the middle of the park. Esther Okoronkwo and Chinwendu Ihezuo all came on at halftime. Deborah Biodu got a yellow card in the 55th minute, which was her second of the tournament, so she will miss the final group game against Algeria. Although I'll get into it because, to be honest, it was never a yellow card in the first place. We then saw Plumter have a shot in the 64th minute, which Boseja was forced to save. Echegini then came on in the 69th minute for Deborah Biodu in 69th minute, and they had a chance just go wide in the 71st minute. Really good effort by Echegini. And then in 89th minute, finally, as we were losing hope and thinking we were going to draw with Botswana, I won't lie to you, I was feeling like we were about to lose the match. Esther Okoronkwo yet again puts in a cross, which was met by Ihezuo at the far post to win the game extremely late for Nigeria. So both of them combined for the second game in a row to get Ihezuo a goal, just like they did in the first game against Tunisia. So shout out to Ihezuo and Okoronkwo for their decisive contributions. Stats-wise, I mean, as you'd expect, Nigeria had 15 shots, 4 on target. Our opponents had 6 shots with 2 on target. 69% of possession, of course, and over double the passes as you'd expect. Passing accuracy, 74%. 1 yellow card, 6 corners. We're definitely not as penetrative as we were in the first game, to be honest. And it has to be said that because of Botswana's deep block, Nigeria definitely had challenges in terms of breaking down our opponents to get really clear-cut chances in this game. But on the positive note, we dominated the game again. I thought Ashley Plumter was excellent. She was also voted man of the match in certain circles. I thought Esther Okoronkwo's cameo was really, really impressive. So shout out to Esther Okoronkwo. Got yet another assist and really decisive contribution. When you watch the way the attack was playing, and there's a lot of panic, and I guess not just staying composed. The composure was kind of missing in the Super Falcons. But when you're able to get someone like Okoronkwo, who just seems to be able to slow things down in her mind and make, the right decision at the right time. I think if you're playing for one manager, decision making and composure, I think Okoronkwo's one will be quite high. So that's good to see. Also, we have to praise Ihezuo, smart positioning, anticipation and finish from her for the goal. You could say Okoronkwo was trying to shoot across, but the fact that Ihezuo was able to anticipate it quite well and then stick her leg out to guide into the bottom corner of the net was very impressive from her, and she continues to flourish for the Super Falcons. Another positive is the clean sheet. We can't take that for granted. It's the first time in the millennium that we've kept consecutive clean sheets to open a WAFCON, so the first time since 1998, and it's also the first time the Super Falcons have won their first 2 games of a WAFCON since 2014. So what does this mean? Nigeria is now officially the first team to qualify for the quarterfinals in the tournament so far. One positive I would like to spin is I think it was a good wake-up call for the team. When you play a team like Botswana, you expect to thrash them 3-4, 5-0. I always say you cannot cheat good preparation. All those international windows where the team could have been playing and building up chemistry, when when the NFF did not even bother to give them games to play. You can see it now telling. So that chemistry they should have been building in some of those friendlies, they're now trying to build this now that the tournament is going on. So you will have moments where you see those kind of things come to the forefront. So it's a good wake-up call about just how much work we have to do. When you watch the likes of Zambia, Senegal, Morocco, South Africa, it almost feels like their team chemistry is definitely better than ours at the moment, or at least their team cohesion is better than ours at the moment. And you can see that on the field of play so far. So hopefully that will serve as a really good wake-up call into this tournament. Even the Super Eagles, it looks like Super Falcons and Super Eagles, we always need one wake-up call in these tournaments that really ginger us to then start performing at our best. So it looks like that's what we've gotten in this game. So fingers crossed, and we'll see what comes from it. I thought the substitutions were quite lively. Okorokwo and Ihezuo, both combining for the goal. And Echegini was really good as well in a cameo, even though she only played for just over 20 minutes. So at least if we're going to criticize the manager for lack of attacking cohesion, we must praise him for making the right changes, which we then saw spark the team into life. Also, another positive, we need just 1 point to secure top spot when we play Algeria. And when you look at the games in Group B, it looks at this point we'll likely face the host Morocco or Senegal, because Zambia look a cut above everybody. So when I did my initial preview, I thought Zambia may struggle and come second. But make no mistake about it, they have the best player in this tournament, Barbara Branda. She looks a cut above everybody. And then also their other striker, Kundanaji, has also been a superstar and was at one time the world's most expensive female footballer. So that just tells you the kind of threat Zambia have. So let's watch this space. If you play the host, it's always a tricky game, but I know Ashley Plumter said in an interview that she's looking forward to playing Morocco. So it looks like her wish may come true sooner than we expected. Negatives, I already spoke about it. Leaving it so late to get a goal. I think our play was very indecisive or panicky. A lot of times the players were taking shots when they shouldn't. It looks like they were almost trying too hard. Like, just calm down, composure. Like you said, grab that Echegini, Okoronkwo gene of just taking time, thinking quickly. A lot of mishit crosses. Some crosses would then end up looking like a shot. I saw one or two from Ajibade. They just need to calm the hell down, man. Honestly, you're the best team. You're the better team. You're expected to win. Act like kids, but don't panic. Don't force the issue. And there's a lot of forcing the issues that we saw in this. So we're not clinical at all. I would say the gameplay was just not crisp, if that makes sense. When you watch a really well-drilled attacking team, that's not something we saw from the Super Falcons yesterday. And not clinical enough. When you have 15 shots, but only 4 on target, that tells you that you're not taking shots from good areas. You're forcing the issue too much. So, we didn't even get our first shot on target until the 63rd minute from Plumter. And even that shot was one of those ones that I think was a bit of a cross-com shot. So a lot to be done there. Another negative I saw in this game, which has nothing to do with Nigeria, is the officiating. When you look at the yellow card dished out to Deborah Abiodun, which will now mean she misses the game against Algeria. If you look at the replay, she even got fouled herself. So I don't know what the referee was thinking, giving her a yellow card. You have VAR and replays to help you with these things. So you shouldn't be getting such consequential decisions wrong. Now a Super Falcons starter will be missing the final group game. And that could have consequences, but hopefully not too many. I thought there was also a chance for Ashley Plumter to get a penalty. The Botswana defender won the ball, but went clean through Ashley Plumter. So there's a world where that would have been a penalty on another occasion. So those are a few things just to talk about. But anyway, good win for the Super Falcons, and we're glad that they got the 3 points in the end. So shout out to them for the determination and for continuing to force the issue before they eventually got the goal. Other Group B game, Algeria and Tunisia drew 0-0 earlier in the day. So what this means, like I said already, we're the first team to qualify for the quarterfinals. Our final game will be against Algeria, and whoever wins that game will top the group. But if Nigeria get just 1 point, we will top the group ahead of Algeria in second place. Other results in the tournament, Zambia beat Senegal 3-2. Both of these teams, Senegal won their first game 4-0 against DR Congo, while Zambia drew 2-2 against the hosts. So Zambia got a very crucial win in this game, with Barbara Branda scoring a brace and Kundanaji scoring the other goal of the game. So that to double threats, man. Moving like Morientes and Raul back in the day for Real Madrid, man, if you know what I'm saying. or David Villa and who is it? David Villa Morientes for Valencia. If you shout out FIFA 2008, so really, really good for them. Also, Senegal star India, she scored both of their goals, won a penalty, so she now has 4 goals in 2 games and is the tournament's top goal scorer. Is she? Actually, another person has also scored a hat-trick. In Morocco beat DR Congo 4-2. Good win for the hosts. Ghislaine Shebak, who's one of the players to watch that we mentioned, scored a hat-trick in this game. And Yasmin Mrabet scored the 4th goal through a penalty. Marville Kanjinja and Flavine Mawete scored the 2 goals for Congo. So Congo are probably officially out of the tournament. They have 0 points from 2 games. And then we will see Morocco and Senegal play in the final group game. Morocco currently top the group with 4 points, level on points with Zambia, but Zambia will get their chance to feast on DR Congo. So you can imagine Bababanda and Kudanaji rubbing their fingers at what they could do to the Congolese. So I would expect Zambia to top the group, and then whoever wins between between Morocco and Senegal will finish in 2nd place, with the 3rd place team also probably qualifying based on the way the group has looked out so far to play South Africa. So look out for that one. Group C, they will be playing their 2nd round of games later today. So South Africa and Tanzania play at 8 o'clock and Ghana play Mali at 5 p.m. The Ghanaians really need to win this game to stand any chance of going through to the next round, because Mali, of course, already beat Tanzania 1-0. But we'll get a better idea of Ghana's credentials and Mali depending on how that game goes later today. So watch this space. And then the final group game for Nigeria will be played on Sunday against Algeria. As I said, they currently stand 2nd in the group with 4 points from their 2 games. One thing to mention, I don't know if it's a administrative error, but it looks like the team has been training with old jerseys, the old white kits or white t-shirts. Yes, they could say it's the weather, but is it that there's no training kits, or Nike did not supply enough of the training kits to the team? Apart from the ones we see on the day of the game when they're warming up, where are the training kits? Another thing to just, I guess, point out from what I've noticed. But what do we expect to be the starting lineup? Would there be any changes? He may not change. Madugu may not change anything, but honestly, based on that Botswana performance, I think he needs to ring some changes. I will leave the back line and goalkeeper exactly the same. Start with Nadozie, play Ohale, Demehi, Plumter, and Alozie. However, we now know that Abiodun will be suspended, so I expect Uchebe to come into the middle of the park and play alongside Halimatu Ayinde. I would hopefully then like to see either... Me personally, I want to see Jigini play as the number 10. But we know the way the manager has been moving, that he may just persist with Ajibade in that camp position. Although it must be said, Ajibade was also voted as player of the game for some of her good play in this game, despite some wayward crosses. So let's see who ends up playing that camp position. I personally think it's time to put Oshoala on the bench. She did well coming off the bench in the World Cup, Let Ihezuo play. She has scored twice now coming off the bench in 2 games. That shows a woman that's prepared to take her opportunity. So I want to see more of that, And then we'll see Rinsola Babajide probably start. But I'll also like to see Okoronkwo start, because Okoronkwo just looks decisive whenever she plays. If there's a way to fit in Echegini, Okoronkwo, and Ihezuo in this game, while also getting Ajibade into the team, I'd love to see that. But anyway, it's Magudo's headache, so let's see what happens in this game. It might be a chance to make changes, but remember, we still need to at least draw this game to seal top spot, because we do not want to finish 2nd in this group by any means necessary. So look out for that one, and then let's see what happens in terms of our quarterfinal fixture. As for our opponents, Algeria are likely to sit deep in a compact 4-2-3-1, defend the numbers and look to hit on the counter. They've not been the highest scoring team that we've seen in the tournament so far. They drew their 2nd game 0-0 and beat Botswana 1-0, so they've only scored 1 goal so far. So there's definitely room for improvement, but I think they'll definitely respect the Super Falcons and try to hit us on the counter using their pace and midfield creativity. Players to watch, they've got a player called Guthia Karchuni, their number 10. She plays for Servette Geneva in Switzerland and just left Inter Milan. Creative engine dictates play from midfield or defense and scored their only goal so far in the tournament, so definitely their star player. They've got a player called Ines Boutaleb who plays for Metz in France. Central striker, pacey, tricky, and always looking to get behind the defense. They've also got Lina Busaha, who also plays for Al Nassr, but looks to be moving to Al Ittihad in Saudi. Wide playmaker, technical, unpredictable, and a threat on the left. And then finally, they've got Marine Dafur, who plays in midfield. She plays for FC Fleury in France, breaks up play and controls the tempo in transition. So we should expect Algeria to absorb pressure, stay compact, and try to frustrate the Super Falcons while relying on individual moments of quality in the transition. They may likely try to play like Botswana and try and frustrate the Super Falcons and sit deep. However, because it's a game they probably need to win or at least draw, because if they don't draw, if they lose, there's a world where Tunisia could then overtake them depending on how well we beat Algeria. So they can't afford to sit deep and just hope for the best. So let's see what happens in this game. My score predictions, I hope the Super Falcons have learned their lessons. So I'm predicting a 2-0 win for the Super Falcons against Algeria. Look, when a tournament starts, you know who's on form. So I'm just going to say Ihezuo and Esther Okoroko are going to score the goals. So if it's not one of those two, it will be a Chegini. Those three seem like shining lights at the moment in terms of attacking play. So I expect two of those three, or one to get our 2 goals in this game. So that's it for this episode of the podcast. I just wanted to do a quick review. Remember, the final game takes place on Sunday. I believe it is a 8 p.m. kickoff for the Super Falcons. So make sure you watch that, and it will be a very important game for the team as we try to seal our qualification into the quarter, which we've already done, but I want to make sure we seal top spot in the group. So 8 p.m. on Sunday, Nigeria time. Look out for that game. I'm pretty sure it's on Super Sports. If you're in England, find other ways to watch the game, if you know what I'm saying. So anyway, wish Super Falcons all the best, and so far so good. We look out for the improvements, but thankfully they've done us proud so far, and long may that continue. Until next time, I've been host Oluoke. Enjoy the football and also the Club World Cup final taking place on Sunday. I think it's at the same time at 8 o'clock between Chelsea and Paris Saint-Germain. So take care, and I'll see you on the next episode of the podcast. Ciao, ciao.
Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get a notification whenever we drop a video. You can also find our social media channels listed below. And of course, up Super Eagles and Nigeria no dey ever carry last.